All right, so we're live right now. Hi, everybody. This is Paul Wieboldt from NCI, National Cover Institute. It's a nationwide, actually, it's worldwide. They do worldwide training for everything HVACR. And Paul's here is going to talk about load calculations and how important they are. And they've got some new stuff going on. So, yeah, take a listen. Go ahead,
Okay.
Paul.
Yeah, so I started out in this industry about 30 years ago doing design work on a DOS computer. And I learned from my mentor that good design ends up with good results and performance. And I've also found out in the industry that there's a lot of resistance to taking the time to design properly a heat pump, air conditioner. And part of it is it takes some office time, engineering time. And a lot of people are resistant to it because for one, they consider it part of a free estimate, and I think that's one of the things that happens to a typical contractor. They think they owe it to the customer to provide them a design for nothing. Um, about 10 years into doing this, I discovered that there was an engineer up in Oklahoma. I'm from Texas. That was actually charging like 10 cents a square foot to do a design for customers as a third party. And I went, bing, I have a license. Not everybody can practice my trade. Engineers charge for their work and an HVAC residential work. I'm licensed by the state to provide engineering services, not professional and commercial, but residential for sure. And we put a price tag on it. And what immediately happened, Mitch, was we started asking folks for a small investment to design properly a retrofit system that had been done wrong in the first place. And what happened was it was a small amount of money, let's say $250 for a 2,500 square foot house. And my son actually was our salesman. He came back with this small check. We spent a couple hours doing a load calculation. And he went back to the customer with the proposal and a design. And the next thing that happened was they asked, when can you do it? and we didn't realize, but they had given us a down payment. We hadn't asked for it. We told them they can have a load calculation. They could bid it out to anybody they wanted to. But we're the only ones that were offering the service, and it added a value perception to the customers. And our closing rate for the people that were willing to invest in that first initial design was 90%. That doesn't mean we got every customer to buy into the idea, but when they refused a $250 investment up front, we knew that these weren't our clients anyway because we were not the lowest.
So did you still go out on them, or did you still go give them an estimate, or did you not do anything?
Yeah, we could give them an estimate, but it became pretty clear that it was sort of a triage. We began to find out who our clients were. Right. People that wanted a little bit better product, they were willing to start out with a good design.
So I got my company when I do what I used to do is we used to just give them the bid and say, look, everybody else is bidding this size. I don't know what it is till I do my load calculation.
Yes.
And then if you say yes, I'm going to come in and do all my load calculation. I'm going to testing and stuff and testing the system. And I can't do that ahead of time because I have to have you pay for it because it costs me money to do that.
Yes.
And so I don't. Now in California, they just started a new program. It's called the HVAC Residential Quality HVAC Residential Services program, and they're paying contractors to do those testing and those load calcs ahead of time now in the state. And even if you get the bid or not, you still get paid. So it's a pretty cool program. But your guys, NCI you've put together classes on it.
Yes.
For training. So it's the contractor go to these trainings. They can learn how to do this because there's a learning curve to it. It's just not instantaneous.
There is a learning curve, and there's a couple of things. One important thing is that you need to do the full spectrum of design. If you're going to do a manual J only takes you as far as the heat load of the house. It gives you a BTU number. It doesn't give you tons of air conditioning. Manual S does that because you have to, what it boils down to, you have to derate every piece of equipment you put in a house because the nominal tonnage is not the correct output under your design conditions. If you're in Palm Springs, the output of the air conditioner is severely curtailed by the outdoor heat exchange. And so we have to take that into account. So there's no direct correlation between a manual J and a manual S equipment selection. You have to do the process for both. And then, of course, the last piece is duct design. When you do a standard boilerplate manual J, you get duct design that is value engineered. And our experience is the ducts come out kind of squeaky small, and they're hard to balance.
Right.
So we went into a manufacturer's software and we found out ways to make adjustments to create what I call the National Comfort Institute tweak to improve the output of duct size. And it's the only place that it's done where you have a formula that's tied into the software that creates duct design that you can balance using the NCI methods. So when I developed that, we found, well, this is a perfect match. We'll take a software off the shelf, we'll provide a template for duct design, and then we'll teach people how to use it using the NCI approach. So it's a high-performance design and redesign class. Basically in California, what we're focusing on is heat pump design. That's where the driving forces are all leading us. Electrification. And, when you choose a heat pump, you got to have it work in the summer and the winter, and derating that is a very important part. And so in 3 days, we can get people to a level of confidence that they can begin practicing. Couldn't do an 8,000 square foot house, but we teach you how to do the CAD design. We teach you how to select equipment, pick in a manufacturer that maybe the majority of the class may be familiar with. We show them how to get online, get the manufacturer's D-rating information, and then we do the NCI duct design. It all kind of flows together, and it's a great add-on, I think, complement to NCI's whole process.
Right.
And now
So
we have a basis of design.
Where are you guys usually putting these classes on?
Well,
typically, are you doing it through? I know they do it through a lot of investor-owned utilities here in the state.
Yes.
And so, are there classes coming up that people can look into doing or taking?
December 5th, we have a 3-day class coming in Anaheim at the NCI training headquarters here.
Right.
We have trained in Palm Springs, and we also had a class in Sacramento this past year. And I think one in Tulare, but there was some kind of event that happened that made that not work.
Oh, so it didn't work out. Yeah.
So, but those are 4 locations that we've identified as a good place to hold training.
Okay. So in Sacramento, where are you doing it at? Were you going to do it at Ferguson up there in Sacramento? Yeah, they're either at the Raleigh Boulevard one or the one at Ferguson Avenue. Do you know which one it was?
It used to be an Army Depot.
Yeah, that's the Ferguson Avenue one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've done training there before too.
It's good. It's a good experience.
Good place there.
Yeah.
So if this is all computer stuff, right? So it's all in the computer. There's not a lot of manual, because there used to be a lot of the stuff it was all manual, and that's one reason a lot of people didn't do it, because it was so.
Yeah, the manual approach is really manual J8. The version that we're working with is too hard and cumbersome to do on paper. So we actually decided that we wanted to kind of flatten out the difficulty of the curve of learning how to use a computer and set it up and all that. So we provide all the laptops in a class. They have solid state drives, have software on them. And you can bring your own, but if it's your daughter's borrowed laptop from college, sometimes, that can burn an hour just trying to get that compatible.
Get them up and running and know what they're doing.
And so we invested in laptops, and anybody that comes to the class, they don't have to make that investment until they decide that they can run that. And we also have worked out with the manufacturer, which is Elite Software out of College Station, Texas. They give a full license version for a 30-day timed use of the
so they
full
can
unrestricted.
try for 30 days.
They can run actual projects. It doesn't have a watermark on it saying this is a demo. So once they can get used to it, and they can decide whether they want to buy the product.
So the way it used to be, you charged for it. So now in state, we can get by. We don't have to do that. We can do the quality HVAC services. But if you were to do this in other states, they don't do it. You'd still be charging for this ahead of time, right? You'd still be asking for it, because it's too much time invested measuring the house and putting
Right.
it on and stuff.
There are some quick approaches you can do to pre-qualify whether you can bid this thing with an approximately correct size equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you can go block load. Those are the kind of things I would do as a part of the bid sale. But if I'm going to do the engineering, yeah, I want to ask for that. We advertise nationwide, and we have lots of customers from coast to coast that come to us, Emmanuel J Design Studio or emmanuelJdesign.com, and we do that service for them by the square foot. Other contractors we're training, we want to have as many people involved in this as possible because we can't possibly handle the load that's out there. No pun intended. But it's important for a contractor to bring that in-house eventually, to learn how to do this well. It's the basis of design. If you design it, you install it, you have this, chain of custody all the way to the end where you test and balance, and you really have a product that you can be proud of.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of the few things in this state that I think we've been training guys how to fix units, install them, and do everything else, but we haven't just trained them properly to design a system.
Yeah, and I think that's important because if you have a duct system and you learn how to balance it and adjust it, if it's the wrong size fundamentally, what's the point?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, how about equipment selection in it? Do you have an equipment selection in there, or do you let them guys manually do that?
No, we most of the manufacturers that are on the ball have a online source for putting in the design parameters for your location, and you can derate right off. So we go right online, live in the class, and we select equipment. There, we'll pick a couple, 3 different brands.
Right.
So that works out pretty well.
Bob, we got a hiss. Can you fix that? We had a hiss. So. I know. So anyhow, so if you're, do they go to NCI's website to sign up for the classes, or do they
Yes.
go to? The current classes are they all supported by IOUs, or you have independent classes elsewhere that are going on too?
Yes, we schedule independent classes or individual tutoring. We also do Zoom classes. Like if a fellow wants to buy, I just was on the phone with somebody in Dallas, Texas here a few minutes ago, and we'll probably do a Zoom call for 2 hours. We'll have him install the software on his machine, and then we'll look over his shoulder and we'll begin to tutor him, and he gets his hand-eye coordination. We don't show him how to do it by demonstrating and we let them do the work.
Right.
And we see how they're interpreting the software. It works out really well. And we do live classes. We'll have anywhere from probably as many as 25 people in the class.
So is it easier doing live or Zoom?
There's a dynamic in live where you get lots of questions and different approaches from people. And we have 2 instructors in every class we do.
Okay.
And that works out really well because one guy's looking at all the screens in the back of the class and the other guy's stepping us through, sort of a lockstep approach. So I think that helps a lot. It builds guys' confidence. But once they do that, we have also contractors come back and say, hey, look, I got lost in about, 2 days into this. I need some more refresher. And then we'll get on a Zoom call. And usually we can get them out of a ditch in a couple hours.
Right.
So, yeah. So we're really enjoying doing it. We're doing a lot of years doing the classroom training.
So NCI is great because I've done a lot of training through NCI over the years. I have several certifications through NCI. And full disclosure, I do teach for them occasionally. So in SAC, they asked me, that was Rob Falk asked me a long time ago if I could teach for him. And I said, yeah, no problem. But my schedule with IHACI makes it to where it's hard for me to do a lot of classes.
Sure.
I've got 70 plus classes with these guys.
Wow.
Yeah, it does take a lot of my time. So.
And do you do load calculation training?
No, I do not do the load calculation training. I've been doing it since 2000. I've used RightSoft since 2000. I'm a fan of RightSoft.
Yeah. So how about in your company? How do you work out, in the busy season, load calcs?
I do the load calcs.
You do?
I do. I do all the load calcs. I do all the testings. I'm the person that does that stuff.
You're in the back room. Yeah.
But that's because I had guys that can do it. I had a lady there for a while that was doing it. She ended up leaving. And so it's just like I put that hat back on. But as an owner of a company, it's probably one of the easiest things you can do if you're going to, give yourself a task. It's better than, crawling an attic running ductwork. It's a lot easier to do, and I get this face to face with the customer every time because I'm out at their house doing the measuring, and then when I know when I've measured, put it back in, I know what to tell the customer where we should concentrate their money. And if I was to give anybody advice, if you don't have a house, if you're replacing a system or installing a new system that's never had one, if you don't do a load calc, you're just starting blind. Everything starts with every building starts with a good set of plans, and that's how you get there. Otherwise, you're just guessing.
And look, if you're in the groove and you don't do it, you still should be able to reach to a third party.
Yeah.
There's lots of good guys out there who can do this.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, Paul, do you have anything else you want to add?
Now I'm going to go over to the tech booth and
you got to go. You got to do a presentation right now. So we'll let you get going.
Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you.